Hello, my name is Anthony, and today we're going to show you the different parts of a Honda HS928 and a HS80. I just got talking to somebody that stopped by that bought one of my machines about 4 years ago, and it was really nice to hear from somebody. He told me that he's been having no problems with it, and that's always makes my day when somebody takes the time out of their day and tells me that their machine's working well. So anyways, this video subject will be good for anybody that owns a Honda snowblower, doesn't own one, thinking about buying one. I'm going to show you all the parts that are on the machine from top to the bottom, and it's really good to know. Anybody should know the proper name of the parts, because if you need to order them online or go to the dealer or understand shop manuals or owner manuals or the articles, videos, they're talking about parts that, and when I've done this with our Facebook group, Honda Snowblower Enthusiast, people are always asking questions. What is the sprocket drive wheel, or what is the height adjustment pedal, or what is the released engaged lever. So this will point all that stuff out and make things easier. If you think this video is going to help you, then please like and subscribe the channel to support the group. And let's go from there. We'll start. Here is my Honda HS928. You can always tell what model it is by on the side of the bucket. Usually it says HS928, which means 9 horsepower and a 28-inch wide bucket. The newer machines are HSS 928. This video will also help anybody with a 624, 724, 828, 928, 1132, or 1332. And over here, we have my old 80. On the older machines, it says HS80, which means 8 horsepower. It's really an 824 because the bucket's 24-inch. Your old 50, 55, 70, and 80 designates the horsepower, but not the width of the bucket. So after we get done with the 928, I'll come over here. There's just a few differences that we have to talk about. So this is a 928 tracked model, and I will start at the top here and start showing you a little bit about this machine. What's really nice about Honda snowblowers is that the control panel has all the instructions on it: how to start, turn the fuel valve on, set the throttle to choke, turn the engine switch on, that's the switch here, and pull starter grip. Or if it's got electric start, you can plug in your electric starter. So it's got the instructions on how to start, and it's got the instructions how to stop. Starting from the left side, you have your drive clutch handle. That moves the machine back and forth. Then you've got your shifter. This is a hydrostatic transmission, so it's automatic. It works on hydraulics. You got forward and reverse, neutral. Here's your throttle control. It's slow, fast, and choke. By the way, you only use the choke when the engine's cold. Here's your chute control for your chute, top of your chute. And here's your auger handle, which locks down. It's supposed to lock down when you pull down your drive handle. This locks down, so you're able to use your shooter. It's called the shooter control, to move your chute around. If it doesn't lock down as it should, we're going to have a short video on that. All right, looking down below, you have your recoil starter. That's what it's called, a recoil starter. And your, I showed this the other day, your released engage lever. When you need to move the machine without the engine on, you put it in a release position. And then when you need to drive the machine, then you put it in the gaze position. Here's your height adjustment pedal that controls the height of the bucket. It has 3 different adjustments. The first adjustment is called the transport mode. This is when you need to move it around. And then it's got a middle position for scraping. And then it's got a high position for really putting the bucket down when you need to scrape something hard like your berm. Back underneath the control panel, you got your clutches. It's called clutches. This is your drive clutch for your drive handle clutch. Needs to be kept lubricated. Here's your throttle, and here's your, if you can see it, this is your chute clutch to keep lubricated. Right here are your cables, drive cable and your auger cable. If you notice, they have little rubber boots on them. You can pull the boots off and spray some lubricating oil down there if you're having trouble with your cables. I already mentioned your shooter control. And on the side of the engine, it says GX 270. That's a 9 horsepower. Down here, of course, is your tracks. This is your free axle wheel. It's not driven by anything. Here is your sprocket drive wheel that's connected to the drive axle. That's connected to your hydrostatic transmission, which I forgot to show. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see it, but this is your hydrostatic transmission. The shaft comes out and goes into the final drive gearbox or the right side transmission, and that drives their gears inside there. That works your drive axle for your track. Here is where you check your oil. That's a dipstick for your oil. The light. Here's your belt cover. There's 2 belts that run this machine. I should have taken the belt cover off to show you. You got 2 belts. You got a fat belt right here that drives your augers and your impeller. And the inside belt is a smaller, thinner belt. That's your dry belt that drives your transmission. Moving along here, here's your chute. It's called a chute. Top of the chute. I don't know what you call it, but I call it a hat, a chute hat. Right here is your, not all machines have it, but this is your clearing stick. If you have a clog in your machine, in your chute or your augers, you want to use a stick or something. You do not want to use your hands. Too many people have to go to the emergency room for accidents. Okay, looking into your auger housing is called an auger housing or a bucket. Looking into your auger housing, in the back there, if I can show it properly, this is your impeller. It's also called a blower or impeller. Here's your impeller shear pin. This machine has a bracket. Not all machines have a bracket for the auger gearbox. Here are your augers. Some people call them rakes or blades, ribbons. But the proper word that Honda uses is auger. Here's your auger gearbox, and it's got oil, right? This is how you check the oil on a level surface. This is right here, if you can see it, is your boss pin. This holds the cam lock, and the cam lock has the shear pin, your auger shear pin that connects the cam lock to the auger. So you know this is an item that breaks quite a bit. Little auger shear pin, and you can tell if it's broken because you're not blowing much snow. You're not collecting snow on one side or the other side. Usually just one side breaks at a time. Unless you eat something like a piece of rope or tarp or something, and it takes out both shear pins at the same time. Down here below is your auger housing uh, scraper blade. That's the blade that scrapes that's almost scrapes to the ground. Over here, I didn't show you this. This is your skid shoes. These are what we're talking about all the time, and you need to keep these properly adjusted so that you don't do damage to the bottom of the bucket, or you don't damage the serrations or teeth on your augers. Okay, moving up here, here's your muffler, your spark plug. This is called the valve cover. Your adjustment for your valves is under here. I don't suggest you do it unless you know what you're doing. This is called your air box cover. This is your intake area for your carburetor. Have you noticed it doesn't have an air filter? If this was a summer machine like a pressure washer or a wood splitter or a generator, it have an air filter, a foam or a paper filament. Snowblowers don't need them. 2 reasons. There's no dust in the wintertime, and if you had one, it could freeze up from the moisture and choke out your engine. So there's no need for a filter element. Right behind here is your carburetor. And this here is the reservoir for your hydrostatic oil. You don't want to have this too tight. You want to have it just snug. I'll talk about that some other time. We've spoken about it many times in articles. So that's basically your 928. The differences on your 80 on the older machines, if you notice that the augers do not have serrations, they have some splits in them for cutting, but they do not have the teeth. And it's basically the same machine. And this one it's an 80, so it has an 8 horsepower engine. The 50 has a 5 horsepower engine, and so on. 55 is 5.5. 70 is a 7 horsepower. That's a difference there on the numbers on the side of the bucket. Everything else is pretty much the same, except these older machines have a manual type transmission. This one has 4 speeds, 3 forward gears and 1 reverse, and you have to shift it. It's not too difficult. I don't have any problems with mine. It's got a simpler type transmission. It's not automatic like the hydrostatics. The same on the 80. You've got all your instructions here. So, and this one has electric start. It's not like the new machines where they have a battery. The HSS machines, I don't have an HSS machine to show you that, but maybe someday. But with the new machines, you got a battery and you just turn the key like a car and start it up. On this one, it's got electric start. You plug in your your extension cord in here, and then just push the button. That's all you have to do. And this is part of your electric starter right here. This is what drives the gear to your flywheel and starts the engine. So that's basically it. If you have any questions, or please leave them in the comments. Suggestions, anything that I perhaps missed out on. I mean, I didn't show you the gas tank. That's obvious. Uh, but any questions, please leave it in the comments, and I will get to them. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channels and support the group. Thank you very much.